Cavalier faithful, welcome back on in to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. My name is Jeffrey. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. Hit the like button because this is not a special video, but something you're just not going to see. You're not going to see the analysts, the fans, the people who cover the team do stuff like this. I'm sure you've seen by the title. I'm sure you've seen by the thumbnail. We are going into the entirety of Koby Altman's resume. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to talk about everything, but I'm not putting everything in the video because it's going to be really long. He's been the general manager for 7 years. 7 years. Some people think we just got this guy. He's been in the front office for longer. So we're going to talk about some of these moves. I'm going to cut it up, edit it nice. Let me know down below, before we go through everything, what has been your favorite Koby Altman move? What has been your least favorite Koby Altman move? And then we're going to see everything. All right, let's get started. So in a couple weeks, it'll be 7 years officially that we have had him. Chetty Osman. People like Chetty. People didn't like Chetty. Inconsistent. I would say Chetty's kind of like right down the middle as far as you could get for like not a miss, but not a hit. August 30th, 2017. There's a lot of people this year who say, oh, Altman needs to go. I don't really know if I like Altman. Altman was a month into his tenure, and I didn't really like him because of this move. And I know you're going to have a lot of people saying, well, Kyrie wanted a trade, whatever. I get that. But LeBron informed the team, do not trade him. I will talk to him. I will get him on board. I will have him bought into the vision. Allegedly. Yeah, Altman, one of his first moves as general manager, kind of going against LeBron. It's not a great start for me. Yeah, and I know that's a long time ago, and I know a lot of people who haven't really been following the Cavs that long because, they kind of just became fans in like 2020, 2021, 2022 for whatever reason. I know they don't even really remember this move and really talk about it, but this is a terrible trade. And this is all hindsight, so don't come at me in the comments. Come at me if you want. Kyrie for Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, Ante Zizic, and a first rounder who turned into Colin Sexton and a second round pick. And I don't care about we got Sexton from him and then Sexton and then Koby flipped Kyrie into Sexton and then we flipped Kyrie into Don. So it was really Kyrie for Donovan. That's stupid. Stop talking like that. If you have to chain link trades together like that, you just lose credibility in my opinion. But not a good trade. Terrible, terrible trade in my opinion. Isaiah Thomas was hurt and small and was never the same after he got hurt. Jay Crowder, decent NBA player. Ante Zizic, throw-in piece. Yeah, okay, cool. You get Colin Sexton, but you trade him anyway. So let's keep it moving. February 8th of 18 again. Chanting for Isaiah Thomas and a first-round pick who, interestingly enough, while I was looking this over, turned into Mo Wagner. For Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr. I feel like everyone kind of lost that trade because that just is kind of a sucky trade all around. I know Larry Nance is cool to bring Larry Nance home, whatever. What you will see here, and I'm going to make a point out of this, this dude, Koby Altman, loves the nostalgia. He wants people buying jerseys. He wants people going to games because of nostalgia only. Larry Nance Jr., Tristan Thompson comeback, the egregious Kevin Love extension that was stupid. I don't really like him. I know he's made some good moves, and I'll hear your arguments for his good moves. I think that he should be let go as well, especially if you're getting rid of JB, because he gave JB an extension. Why would you keep the guy? You get rid of the head coach. Why would you keep the guy who gave the head coach an extension? Multiple years, big dollar value, allegedly. So here we are. He selects Colin Sexton with the 8th pick in the 2018 draft. Yeah, we trade Colin Sexton to get Mitchell, but I don't think Colin Sexton's ever going to contribute to winning basketball in this league. That's my opinion. Here's your Kevin Love extension. Altman's big brain idea after LeBron and company left was that Kevin Love was going to be the cornerstone of our franchise. This is one of the worst contracts in Cavalier history, in NBA history right here. I'll throw the numbers up on the board. It was absolutely terrible. Kevin Love was notoriously not at the point in his career where he could be a number one. He wasn't even a tertiary option on some of the finals teams. You had guys step up like J.R. Smith, play bigger roles than him. Yeah, that was disgusting, but we talked about it a lot. We signed Larry Nance to a multi-year deal. We're a couple of years early on Larry Nance. I think he's actually a really good role player now in the league. But he never really had a chance to play winning basketball with us. Not really anyone's fault there. We fire Ty Lue in 2018. We appoint Larry Drew as the interim head coach. Kind of a move that needed to happen, but I mean, interim, can't really criticize an interim move too bad. April 11th, we fire Larry Drew. So you could do the math on this. Parties mutually agreed to part ways. Here we go again. I think Altman has just been let off the hook for his early years as the general manager, because people that cover the team now or who are analysts now who maybe are independent weren't really paying attention to the team in 2018, 2019, and 2017. But he gave John Beilein a 5-year. I'll put specifics on the screen where I need screenshots, but I don't even think John Beilein, I don't even know if he made it to the All-Star break. Here's another big one. June 20th. Darius Garland is selected with the 5th overall pick. Windler with the 1st overall pick as well. Windler was a bust, perennial bust, waste of a first-round pick. Not a very good draft selection. I understand. I will give people grace because it's the 26th pick. You're not looking for a superstar, but a bust is kind of crazy. Darius Garland, we know the contract he received, lottery pick. His future with the team 5 years later is in jeopardy. So with one playoff series win, jury's still out on Garland. Still too early for me to tell. Dean Wade, 2-way contract here. Probably Kobe's best attribute is finding guys on 2-ways who are undrafted or that other teams skipped out on and has integrated into our system. I have to give him credit for that. Your Dean Wades of the world, your Craig Porter Jr.'s of the world, even taking a flyer on Sam Merrill. It's not all hate for this guy, but it just bothers me that people just leave out these convenient parts of his resume because he was active in getting Mitchell. I thought the Donovan Mitchell trade was great. But he failed to do anything substantial after that. He threw a bag at Max Strus. He threw a bag at Niang, guys who we, not superstars in this league. It's not like he's gotten the supporting cast has not been great around Mitchell for whatever reason. That might not even be Altman's fault. It very well might not be at all. But at the end of the day, when you have multiple different rosters that can't really shoot and you do the roster construction, it's kind of tough. Here we go. February 19th of 20 appointed J.B. Bickerstaff as head coach. So for over 4 full years, not 5 seasons, but 4 full years, JB has been the head coach. We'll see what happens to his future here, I'm sure, shortly. Also in 2020, Isaac Okoro, 1st round, 5th pick. There's a lot of Okoro, here's the thing. Okoro is, I get it. He's improved every year, as you would hope. Right now, for this draft selection, I mean, he doesn't start for us. And I hear all the time about how, in the 2020 draft, it was kind of a crapshoot. The COVID year, the scouting. There's a lot of people hooping in the playoffs this year from the 2020 draft. Some picked before him, and plenty of people picked after him. Not 1 or 2 guys, like 8 guys. Like, this was not a good pick from Altman. And I know people are going to cry about that. I get it that, his role is his role. He don't have a role. He doesn't. He's a above average defender who can't score. That is not a role in the National Basketball Association 2024. Sorry. Maybe he improves. Maybe he gets better. Maybe he has a future with the Cavs. Maybe he doesn't. We'll see. And here we go again. Another one of these like low-key moves that I think Altman's good at. Lamar Stevens to a 2-way contract. I mean, you got good value out of Lamar Stevens for what you paid for him. You've gotten good value from Dean Wade from what you've paid for him, besides the injuries. But before the extension, you got good value for him. You got good value from Sam Merrill this year. probably his redeeming quality, in my opinion, is Altman finding undrafted guys or guys who have kind of been, casted away from other teams. Maybe the second best piece on Altman's resume, you could say, just based on value and everything included. But Cavs trade Dante Exum and a first-round draft pick to the Houston Rockets. We trade a second-round draft pick to the Nets. We get Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince, and a whole bunch of stuff after this. This was a steal from Altman, absolute steal. Allen's value $20 million. Just what you gave up and what you got back. Jarrett Allen's been an all-star. He's been one of our best players in the franchise since this trade has happened, basically. I would have to put the Donovan Mitchell move at 1 just because of the splash and the star power, the big name that surrounds it. But I think this is easily the second best thing Altman has done on his resume. July 29th, selected Evan Mobley, first round, third pick. Evan Mobley has some work to do. He's a good NBA basketball player. He's a really good defender, but his mindset, his ability to score the basketball, his ability to improve, his ability to get quicker, bigger, more dominant, you'll really, really see here moving forward the next probably 12 months. And then there's going to have to be decisions made about him. Interestingly enough, this next move is probably, believe it or not, a top 5 move from Altman somehow. Traded Taurean Prince and a second-round pick to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Ricky Rubio. Some of the best basketball that this team has played since Koby Altman has been the general manager has been with Ricky Rubio being a major part of it. Even with Donovan Mitchell, even with the 1 year of LeBron, even with this past season, some of the most exciting Cavalier basketball since 2017 has centered around Ricky Rubio, whether it's the game in MSG, just that whole stretch of games before his injury. It's unfortunate how things wound up with that, but Ricky Rubio is a great acquisition. Part of a 3-team trade, Larry Nance to the Portland Trailblazers, and the Cavs the Cavs get Lauri Markkanen, This is a good run from Altman. This is probably the most consistent he has been since 17. You draft Mobley, which, if you want to nitpick, Mobley fell to us. Houston could have picked him with the second overall pick. Detroit could have took him and kind of made a splash and let Cunningham fall. I know he was always slotted to go to us, but you kind of needed some luck there. It wasn't clear-cut who was going to in that draft. Then you ink the Jarrett Allen deal, not to mention the Ricky Rubio trade and the Lauri Markkanen trade as well. This is a good run of general managing from Altman. What is annoying is that we will see moving forward is that I feel like we were ahead of the curve with the 3 big lineup, even though Markkanen was more of a hybrid, a shooter who probably was correctly playing the 3. But we were kind of ahead of the trend there. And then Altman goes and blows it up for the Donovan Mitchell move. Still to this day, I think if you would have kept Markkanen somehow, if Utah would have took 1 or 2 more pieces from us, maybe it was an Okoro, maybe it was somebody else, and you could have kept Markkanen, that would have been an A+, home run grand slam trade. Taco Fall, sorry excuse for a backup big. Moses Brown, another sad excuse to a backup big. Here is what is another thing to me that I think was an egregious move that doesn't get talked about a lot. We had 3 second-round draft picks in 2022, and he used all of them. You could have traded. You could have gave out these second-round picks for somebody to make improvements to the roster. Here we go. The biggest move of them all. Getting down to the end here, actually, even though we had some major moves this last offseason, you could say. Just to refresh people's memory, Abaji, Markkanen, Sexton, 2025 first, 2026 first, 2027 first, 2028 first, and a 2029 first for Donovan. It's a lot of firsts, people. I think that was a move that needed to be made, but I know this is a more highly contested topic than people think. There's a lot of people who didn't like this trade even at the time. And yeah, it's only been 2 years since, this has happened, but giving up that, when you look at it like this, giving up that much for us to only win one playoff series against probably the worst team that was in the playoffs in totality this postseason, in a series that went 7 games where we were outscored in totality. I don't know. You need to do. It's not enough. We all know it's not enough. And things need to change for it to improve. Pete Nance to a 10-day contract. Like I said, he's nostalgia bait king. And obviously the Max Strus trade. Osman, Lamar, and a second to the San Antonio Spurs. And we gave a second to Miami for Max Strus. We gave up a lot for Max Strus too. Plus the contract. Interesting. Once again, I don't think you could fault him for making this move. I know that a lot of people at the time, even myself included, said that the money was a little steep because I felt like Strus was a value player based on him making such little salary. But this is the least of my worries as far as Altman's tenure, is what I'm saying. Niang, that looks like a huge mess. 2 more years of that contract looks absolutely diabolical. Karis LeVert, I didn't even mind the Karis LeVert trade, which I think we kind of glossed over. I must have missed. I didn't even mind it at the time because I thought it was a necessary move. I didn't love this contract extension. I actually thought it was pretty bad. Ty Jerome, multi-year contract, like holy crap, he's MIA. Here we go again with the nostalgia. Tristan Thompson, you tell me you couldn't get any other backup big. There wasn't anybody else available, whatever. March 29th of 2024, signing of Marcus Morris, which, hey, man, he's fit into that mold where these players that other teams don't want to, have on their roster that they kind of throw away that have been either unemployed or they were undrafted. Altman's found a home for some of these guys, and he played good in the playoffs. He wasn't great. He wasn't elite. He's not going to give you superstar minutes. He played good in the playoffs, though. He played better than a lot of our guys. He played better than Okoro in the playoffs. He might have played better than Max Strus in the playoffs. Less volume, obviously. He played better than Tristan Thompson. I mean, he's a more viable option than Damian Jones. He's a way more viable option than George Niang. And, you signed this guy in March. You signed this guy 2 months ago. So that's a red flag to me. Just if you sign a guy at the end of March, early April, and they're making impact for you in the playoffs, that means something's wrong. I'm not saying that you can't find a diamond in the rough and something just clicks and they turn to the best player they've ever been, which I'm not saying Marcus Morris did, but just a little bit of a red flag to me that something organizationally is wrong, where if you give all these people in the offseason and then a late March signing comes in and outperforms them. Let me know down below. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Favorite Altman move, least favorite Altman move. Grade him. Give me an A through F grade for his last 7 years here as the Cavs general manager. Contrary to popular opinion, I would give him like a C. And that's, I think, pretty fair. He's done some good things. He's done some bad things. And he's done a lot of meh. So that gives him about a C for me. I know people are going to be upset about that because, he was active. He got Donovan Mitchell. He tried to get shooters. But the way he's operated just has bothered me. I've been on record saying this, though. It's not like I'm just saying this. You could go look through our channel, look through multiple videos, go over on Twitter at Pulse Cleveland. Shoot us a follow over there. And yeah, I've stood by my opinion here. So if you see people jumping on the Fire Koby bandwagon, they're probably a little bit later than me. But with that all being said, it's going to wrap it up here for me. We appreciate you being the pulse of it all. Peace.